How's it going, folks? So, yet again, another month has come and gone. We are now in August, so I've rounded up my top picks for the month of July. And disclaimer, I always have a couple of those, but first disclaimer is I cover all things power metal, symphonic metal, melodic rock, and, associated genres and styles, around those main genres. But yeah, so and other than that, down in the description below, I have included every song that I listened to off channel that I found noteworthy that released in the month of July. So I didn't include anything I did a reaction to because the reaction's there. But all the stuff that I listened to off channel during the month of July that I found noteworthy for one reason or another, I really liked it, thought it was cool, nifty, all that good stuff, down there in the description below, along with a link that will take you directly to the video, whether it's on the label's channel or the band's channel. But you can go through, see all the songs I was digging that I didn't do a reaction to, and if you hadn't heard it or whatnot, you click the link, boom, it'll take you right there. Only thing I ask is that if you do check out any of those videos, in their comments section, just tell them Power Metal Ranger sent you. That would just be super duper cool because all this stuff takes quite a bit of work, but that would help spread the word. And in addition to the songs, I also listed in the description below all of the albums I listened to that released in July, all of them. So those are all the albums that were in consideration for best of the month. Those are all the albums that I checked out from July. So you can go look at all of that, see if there's anything you missed, see if anything sounds or looks cool to you, and go have a listen or what have you. There's no links there, but just, the band name and the album, every album I listened to for the month of July. So, anywho, with all that good stuff out of the way, let's move right along here and talk about my top 5 favorite albums of July, my top picks. But actually, first and foremost, I almost forgot, I normally don't include instrumental albums, in the list, even in the list of albums I listened to for, one reason or another. But in July, there were actually 2 that were quite standout. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those. The first one is Kondzik with the album Heroes of the Past. Really cool, kind of driven power metal through and through, but instrumental, great guitar work. All that. It is a power metal album just without vocals, but it was sick, really, really sick. So I highly recommend that. And then the other one is by Antti, Martikainen, with the album Wanderlust. This one's more of an epic symphonic orchestral instrumental album, but it just is magical fantasy based sound, and it just is really, really wild. So both of those, if you're into instrumental albums, I highly recommend both of those, and they're included down in the list in the description with all the albums. But yeah, that's Kondzik with Heroes of the Past and Antti Martikainen with Wanderlust. Cool stuff. Anywho, now on to my top 5 picks for best albums of July, and this is in no particular order. Oh, one final disclaimer, I'm sorry, you folks are probably like, dude, get on with it, but I don't include live albums, I don't include remasters or reissues or EPs, just full-length, brand new full-length albums. That's what I consider, because I can't listen to just like everything. I already listened to enough as it is. So yeah, just brand new full-length albums are what are considered. But anywho, so first up, again, in no particular order, we have Bloodbound with Tales from the North. This one really, really, I don't want to say took me by surprise because I'm a fan of Bloodbound, but I would say this is probably their strongest release in recent memory, at least for me. It just really, really great stuff. Solid songwriting, great melodies. Killer musicianship, of course. Just excellent power metal, great, great vocals. And again, there's a nice diversity in the sound throughout the album. There's a lot happening here. I feel like they really kind of stepped it up a bit for this latest offering, and I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's my favorite Bloodbound album of the last few releases. I just really enjoyed it, and I was just happy to be digging some Bloodbound again, you know? So, yeah, really great stuff. Next up, we have Winter Age with Nekia. I mean, this is just a symphonic power metal epic album with just sweeping melodies, and just the musicianship is top notch. The use of the symphonic and orchestral elements, as well as the storytelling throughout the album, and the diversity in the vocals, and it really is quite an adventure, quite a journey, and it's epic, it's bombastic. It's just a really powerful album. I was super stoked from the singles, and the album does not disappoint. It really met my expectations, and even possibly exceeded them. And my expectations were through the roof for this album, but killer stuff. Next up, we have Edge of Paradise with the album Hologram. Another solid album from this band. You know, they have their sound, they know what they're doing, and they deliver. It's really kind of a industrial slash cinematic slash new metal kind of sound with some symphonic elements, but again, it's rich with storytelling. The vocals are just always amazing. You know, she has just such a range, and the songs are really constructed in a way that really kind of gives it a cinematic quality, like almost like you're watching a movie while you're listening to this. And you know, it's a bit heavier than their previous album, The Unknown, but it works well. It's driven, it's heavy, but then again, you know, the vocals are just so powerful and dynamic, and there's some great riffs, and there's some really solid guitar work here in this one as well, and it just very memorable. And again, it just makes you stop, and it just, you know, it captures your mind, your ears, and your imagination. And it's just, yeah, another solid album from those folks. Next up, we have Symphonium with the album Ket Velag. This one is cool. I'd never heard of the band before, and I was quite impressed. It really is like a symphonic power metal. It's epic. You know, that there's some really great. Yeah, like there's some bombast in there. The songwriting is done really well. This is another one of those albums where it just feel, I guess, adventure and journey is kind of the name of the game for my top picks of July, because this album too, it's like I don't know what the lyrics are. You know, I can't understand the words, but it just feels like a journey. And so even through the music and everything, even if you don't know the lyrics, you're just kind of swept away. The vocals are really solid, and again, the songwriting is just really well done, where everything works together, and it just creates a really nice symphonic power metal epic kind of, you know, metal opera-ish sort of sound. And I was just quite impressed. I really enjoyed it. And last up, we have Velvet Viper with the album Nothing Compares to Metal. And this album is just really solid. It is a very kind of classic heavy metal, power metal style, but it's done, again, super well. Killer melodies, killer guitar work and riffs, and the vocals are, there's a nice edge to the vocals. It just, in the delivery, it just really suits the sound really well. I found myself really rocking out to this thing. And again, a lot of it's very driven, but the melodies do not take a back seat. You know, very melodic, but just heavy, and just reminiscent of that classic heavy metal, like heavy power metal sort of style here. And quite diverse too in the album, which I find you don't always get with this sort of sound. But yeah, it's quite diverse and just really solid. And yeah, I mean, if you're into the old school kind of heavy metal vibe, this album really delivers. And these folks are no stranger to, you know, the sound, and they've been around, and they know what they're doing, and it shows that they're still rocking it. So really enjoyed that there. So there you have it. Those are my picks for the top 5 best albums of July 2023. But y'all know it by now. just like the Highlander, there can be only one. So, my number one pick for best album of July 2023 is Winter Age with Nekia. I mean, this album is just a masterpiece in my opinion. It's just so epic. It's so well done that the songwriting, such care was put into how all of the elements work together and create the sound. And there's it's so dynamic, where sometimes it almost feels like there's some prog elements in there just because of some of the shifts and the way that the story's being told, both lyrically, vocally, and through the music. And it's just a constantly moving kind of, but organic machine, this album. And I did an album thoughts on it, so if you want more in-depth thoughts of mine on the album, you can go check that out. But just blew me away. Just astonishing, really, really amazing album that I can't get enough of. So yeah, there you have it. That's my pick for best album of July 2023. So with all that being said, first and foremost, thank you folks so much for all of your support. Really, really means a lot. I just appreciate it so much. But let me know in the comments down below, what were your favorite albums and songs and what have you of July? I love to see what y'all were digging, what were your favorites, what were you listening to a lot. I love discussing it and just knowing what everyone was enjoying. So let me know in the comments down below and we can talk about it. But yeah, that's what I got for you folks here today. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all next time. Ranger out.